I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahshai Bashem, Raquah Kodash. Salutations to y'all brothers out there in the highways and byways. Actually, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to y'all brothers out there in the highways and byways that's doing this work sincerely, diligently, and faithfully. I want to get into this topic here. It's called China Military Tells Russia, "We've come to support you against the U.S." Now, this is huge. This is biblical prophecy. All these nations, we're in that time that all these nations are going to come against America now. All these nations are gearing up. They're preparing. They're testing their weapons. Now they join forces with one another. And not just China, but, you got Iran. You got these other nations that's gonna follow suit after China. Because these other nations got one goal in common, and that is to destroy America, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because this land here is wicked, America's wicked, goes throughout the whole nations, pushing their democracy, telling people what they should do, what they should not do, how to live, trying to change people's cultures, change people's identity, steal people's resources. So these nations are fed up, and now they're coming against America with that thermonuclear missile. Now let me get into the book of. I'm gonna start with the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter. Start with the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter, and the 5th verse. And it states, "Ye also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gather to himself all nations, and heap unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taught in proverb? Against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long, and to him that ladeth himself with the clay." Verse 7, "Shall not all these rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and that awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booty unto them." Verse 8, "Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for violence of the land, and of the city, and of all that dwell therein." That's the point right there. Because of men's blood, And what has America been doing, these past years that has been raining all over the earth, shedding men's blood, starting with the people of Iraq, the people of Afghanistan, over there in the Middle East, pretty much all around the world, America's been shedding man's blood. Now the Most High is raising these nations up and using these other nations to come against America. Now these nations are mad, and it's time that America goes down. We got another priest up here. Alright. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51. "Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will against Babylon, and against them that dwell there in the midst of them that, that rise up against me, and destroying wind. And what is that destroying wind? Them thermonuclear missiles, That's the destroying wind that it's talking about. So, verse 2. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. Who's the day? These other nations. This is an example right here with China. Telling Russia that they're gonna join forces with them to come against America. You know what I mean? So Russia is not alone in this fight. You know what I mean? And pretty much the only ally that America has, is pretty much Israel. Because these 10 other nations, NATO is also gonna turn against America too. You know what I mean? So, and along with the UK, the United Kingdom. So pretty much the only ally that America has is pretty much Israel. So, and they simultaneously both gonna be destroyed by those thermonuclear missiles. So let's get back into this precept. And verse 3, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow against him that lifteth himself up in his bragdance, and spread ye not her young men, and spare ye not her young men, and destroy ye utterly all the host of her host. Verse 4, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust to in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his most high, of God, of the Lord of hosts. Through their land will fill with sins against the Holy One of Israel. Verse 6, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in our iniquity, for this of the Lord's vengeance, ye will render unto her a recompense. You know what I mean? What is that recompense? Pretty much how you recompense us, what you did to us, when you brought us here. You know what I mean? From when you brought us here to the lands. When you brought us here from Africa, well, so-called Africa, but we had ports when you brought us here when you removed us far from our borders, and brought us here to America to serve hardcore slavery. And now it's time for you to repay. You know what I mean? It's time to drink that cup. It's time for America to go down. For that is our recompense. You know what I mean? Most High is going to use these other nations to pretty much destroy you and to destroy America, Esau. So that's what we're seeing here with China coming together against America. So they're going to join forces with Russia and China and all these other nations. Mark my word. Alright. So this is the point. Verse 7, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen, destroy how for her, take not blame for her pain. If so, If so, if so, she may be healed. Verse 7. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment have reaches unto the heavens, and is lifted up even to the sakes. You know what I mean? So there you go. These other nations are mad now. Now these other nations are joined together and for one purpose, and that is to destroy America. But let me read on in this article and states what it says. It says China's military leadership has pledged its supports to Russia, and tensions between Moscow and the West further deteriorates into diplomatic installations, economic sanctions, and dwelling defense drills. In his first visit to Russia, newly appointed China's Defense Military Wei Feng attended the seventh Moscow International Security Conference, accompanied by a delegation of other high-level military officials, emphasizing that his trip was coordinated directly with China President Xi Jinping. Wei said that he had two major messages for Russia at a time when both nations were attempting to modernize their armed forces and strengthen their hands in global affairs in spite of U.S. fears. It says, I am visiting Russia as a new defense minister of China to show the world a high level of the development of bilateral relations for forum demonstrations for our armed forces to strengthen strategical corporations, Wang said at a meeting with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, according to the state-run TASS, Russia's news agency. So these other nations are preparing for war, and they're rallying up, So, well, we're living in these last days, and we're getting closer and closer, to our salvation, the salvation of Israel, which starts with the 144,000, which starts with the elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, So we're just right there, and this is another demonstration. So let me just get into the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. Alright, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for a shown him of the building of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and the world, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass. For nation shall rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers. These are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So we're right there, America's at its end, The system is collapsing, there's no coming back from America. And it's only gonna escalate even more, And America's at its end. So this is it. And that you're gonna see more tensions rise between the West, and Russia. But now Russia's not alone. Now China's getting involved in this, And not only China, but all these other nations are eventually gonna join forces, all together, come up against America and destroy America by way of thermonuclear destruction. And with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rokwa, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to y'all brothers out there on the highways and byways that's noising this word abroad and doing this work sincerely, diligently, and faithfully. And with that, I'm going to say Shalom.